Hello everyone! This is a recorded sketchbook session where we're going to work together in our sketchbooks. I'm going to give us a materials prompt and I'm going to give us a theme prompt of what we're making. So let's start out by settling in a little bit into our bodies, and I'll lead us in a couple of breathing exercises and then give us our prompt and we can get started. If you want to, close your eyes. We're just going to take 3 breaths into our bellies. You'd be surprised at how much of a reset just a few breaths are. And I'm not going to tell you when to breathe in or when to breathe out, because everyone does it at their own pace. But make sure your belly is expanding, and then you're slowly letting the breath out. So most days, even when we're having a good day, we're probably holding tension somewhere. So while keeping your eyes closed, draw an imaginary circle around an area in your body that feels tense. It might be in your shoulders, might be behind your ears, it could be your hands or your feet. You may have even felt it in your stomach when you did your breathing. Then imagine yourself stepping out of that circle to take a break, because there's probably other parts of your body that don't feel tense. So leave the tense area and let's just take a break there. And while we're taking a break from that tension, remember back to when you were a kid, probably before you were 7 or 8. Something that just gave you a lot of joy. Something that felt empowering, where you felt like you had control over your life. It could be the simplest thing, sitting on a porch reading a book, or catching bugs, or playing games with your cousins. There could be a link to this thing from your childhood to now. So maybe it's something that you still really enjoy, or you would enjoy if you let yourself do it. So remembering back to this activity, this is what we're going to be making our art from today. If you haven't already, you can open your eyes. I just opened mine. So we're going to be taking this idea of something that you loved as a kid, something that where you felt present, and then if you need it, using this reference sheet. This isn't for us to draw these kids. We're going to be making us, like you are the one in your drawing today. But this is just so that we can see like what a leg looks like hanging over a chair. What does that leg look like when it's climbing up a wall? Just like ideas, and maybe if you were to start with one of these poses energetically, or sort of like the mood of one of these, it would lead to the thing that you're actually going to make that's about you based on the prompt. Just see what happens. It doesn't have to be the exact thing you did as a kid. It doesn't have to be the exact gesture you see here, but let it sort of like do its own thing on the page. And here is our materials prompt. So grab something that you don't use very often, something you're not very comfortable with. I'm going to use some pan pastels, some other chalk pastels that I've had some like mixed success with. I don't really know kind of what I'm doing with them. So that's what I'm going to use today. You can use multiple materials, cool, whatever. But make it something that you're not very familiar with, or you just don't use very often. If you're like, hey, I've used everything and I know everything about everything, then subvert it in some way. So maybe you're gonna like put a bunch of paint on paper and then turn it over onto another piece of paper and draw into it, so that it like makes a print and then the drawing, right? So like just mess with it. What came up for me is just like the confidence I had as a kid. So that's not really a thing that I did. I'm going to start by laying in some background smudgy abstract stuff. A lot of times in my work I just kind of start with, it's just about my body moving into it. I might be thinking of one of my senses, so like something that I've heard, something that I've felt, seen, smelled, but not in a figurative way, not in a like, let me try to make that be what this looks like kind of way. So it's more like, oh, remember when I was swimming and it just felt like a freedom of line like this. Whenever my face is wet with creek water or lake water, I can smell this smell where it's just like I'm part of the water. And that makes me feel like this line right here. I might be responding to the light that this white brings in. And how that makes me think of like sunshine on my face and warmth. I'm using a lot of colors here. I didn't give us restrictions for color. If you want to stay restrictive on that, go for it. I generally don't do that right at the beginning. I reach for what I intuitively feel like using, and then I'll whittle it down and eventually only be using the ones I chose. So I think this is enough of this stuff, right? I'm gonna be, oh, I see what's happening. So once you put this stuff down, it's hard to draw into it. Okay, well, what am I gonna do? Maybe I should have done some drawing first. Okay, I'm gonna draw with this stuff with my fingers. Hopefully. I'm looking at this gesture of this little kid with attitude. I had attitude as a kid. Got some attitude now, not gonna lie. Wait a minute, I have these too. Hold it. What will this do? Ah, I can draw with these. I wonder what's happening with these. Okay, so we just learned that these are maybe too hard to draw over these pans, but these are not, even though it says semi-hard pastel. So gonna try it. There's this picture of me like with my hands on my hips, kind of like telling my cousin what's up from when I was little. I don't know, I just kind of like wasn't afraid to be like, this is what I think. This is what I think should happen. If you want this game to go right, pay attention. All right, as much as I love the sound of this pastel on paper, I'm gonna play some music for us next. Doesn't matter what it turns out like. I think sometimes that's even harder to remember when you're starting to like it. Just remember to play and try things. So I'm deciding to put some of this light blue into the shirt and some white stripes to lighten up the shirt behind this very dark dog that appeared out of nowhere. I just started to do this like little kid with an attitude gesture. And then I didn't know what to do with this arm. And when I realized I could wrap it around the front, then I thought, like, what would this kid be holding if this kid was me? And then I thought, like, what if it was a puppy trying to get out of my arms? This is a dark dog. How can I frame it so that there's some contrast? And that's when I thought, wow, the shirt should be light. And I like that there's some blue splashed around the background, so let me grab a blue and bring that in. It's not the same blue, because this is like maybe the best blue ever. But I went a little lighter. You can see these are a bit lighter. And I can probably grab a darker blue, maybe even mix some of this in if I want. But I think it matches okay, and I probably will throw some of that on top of it eventually. I'm gonna do the face, I'm gonna do these pants, but what color the pants gonna be? So we can go back in and look at colors that have happened already. I've already got this bright blue. I could probably go dark on the pants because there's not a lot of dog hanging over, but maybe not like black. I could go bright. What if we just like went for it? It is a sketchbook. What if we just went red? We don't even have red here yet. What's this red and what's this red? This red's kind of more orangey. I'm gonna do both. What if I had red pants on? What would happen to me? think I have to be done so that I can move on to doing some other things. Really happy with this. It's so cute. I love the gesture. I love that our body is like facing forward, slightly going this way, and then our arm is kind of out of whack up here, which I love to let happen. And also that this puppy looks like they're really trying to get away. I didn't end up, probably because I'm like kind of distracted and I feel like I need to move on to the next thing. But I kind of want a frustrated or concentrated look on the kid's face, but that can happen if at any point, if I end up doing anything with this further, see what it looks like. Oh, one other thing, because I used the red down here, just want to kind of like splash that around back here a little bit. And like I didn't really even do much with the background. You can knock it back. If you have to do something like that and you're like, well, now I have this huge red splotch that I wasn't, you know, that kind of is like stealing the show, that you can just knock it back. Like I just throw some white over it. Throw some blues over it. Same with this blue. Maybe this blue kind of makes an appearance up into here. Maybe this blue frames our little pup face. Oh, maybe not, because you can't really draw right there for some reason. Some of that gray I liked from before. Keep playing with it. Or don't. Don't overwork it. And officially, thank you for coming. However much time you were able to spend today is okay. 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I think I spent 50 minutes. Oh, I'm going to put blue right here. And white right here. Come back to it. Look at it some more later. I'm going to have to take this outside and spray it. Oh, wait, I wanted to put this in here too. Whatever materials you were using, I want to know, because I want to like play with lots of new stuff that I maybe haven't thought of or don't own yet. See you next time. Thanks for coming.